Hello, this is Michael Files from Divorce Rehab, divorcing yourself from the world and rehabbing yourself through Scripture. Today, I decided to go ahead and take the boat out, and I'm out here on Lake Jocassee, and according to the research that I have done, Lake Jocassee is the number one eighth lake, I believe, in the United States that is the most visited lake and one of the most beautiful lakes in the whole nation. And I'm fortunate enough to where I only live about 45 minutes away from this lake. The bad news about this lake is unless you either come out here late in the afternoon like I have, or you get here early in the morning, and I mean like 6:30, 7 o'clock, you won't make it on the lake because the line literally gets backed up over a mile long just to even get on the park to launch your boat, let alone even launch your boat. So I decided to come out here in the afternoon. But the reason I'm making this video is for the purpose of showing that there are other things that you can do after you've been through a divorce. Life doesn't have to stop, and you don't have to stop having fun after a divorce. And the thing I want to point out is that you need to find a hobby of something. And I'm going to go ahead and take the view off of myself and onto the scenery for a minute while I talk to you. But you don't have to just give up, and you don't have to be a recluse in your house. I don't recommend that you go to a bar or anything like that, because this station or channel is a Christian based channel that is designed for the purpose of building a relationship with God first before you try and build a relationship or take a relationship seriously with another female, or in this case, if you're a female, a male. Focus on God first. And this boat is a boat, yes, I bought about 2 years before we ended up getting a divorce. Wow, look at how clear that water is. This water is very clean and very clear. But I bought this boat about 2 years before I ended up getting a divorce. And I could see the signs, and I mean, I should have known better to even stay married to my ex, because 2 weeks after we got married, she had a meltdown and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did this again. I want a divorce." And I was her fifth marriage, so that should have been a red flag in of itself. But I didn't know any better. I was very naive, didn't go out and date, didn't hang out with women, didn't understand the modern woman view and thinking 20 years ago. And really, honestly, it wasn't much different 20 years ago than it is now. Just a different time. Technology is different in this time and era. And oh, look at this, a waterfall of some sorts. But anyway, things were, yes, a little different, but that was only because of technology. But the mentality and the attitude of the modern woman back then was still very much alive and still very active. And as technology got better and I got more knowledgeable, and the information that I needed in order to understand the modern woman and how my ex thought, caused me to realize that, okay, yeah, I really am just a half a step away from a divorce. And I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and get a boat. And I ended up getting a few other hobbies that I knew that I would want to explore before I got the divorce, like a couple of kayaks and things like that. And while I was still married, I, for all intents and purposes, made it sound as though I was getting the boat because I wanted something to do with the family, which that is the truth. I did want something to do with the family. And for a short time, I did exactly that. Took my ex out on the boat many times. In fact, that was when we actually got along the best. And I took my daughter out multiple times and really made a connection with her. My stepson, on the other hand, he was already like 16 years old and making friends and able to go out and visit and hang out with friends. And so that became his main focus. And he met other people that had money and had their own boats and much better boats than this one. And so his interest on going on the lake with me in my little bumpy boat was not his idea of having fun when he could already do that. So the thing I'm just trying to point out is there's a lot of things that you can do with a boat, and it doesn't have to necessarily be an expensive boat. With this boat, I've done all kinds of things. I've done everything from fishing to exploring like I'm doing right now with you, my divorce rehab family. And I'm showing you that you can explore with a boat. With this boat, I've done some fishing. That's what you see, these PVC pieces of pipe on there. It's a kind of a MacGyver setup for trolling. And I'll give you a good panoramic view of the boat. So I've got a couple of rods on each side here and 2 in the back. So I can literally drag like 6 lines through this lake with this boat if I want. And so, goodness gracious, that water, beautiful. This lake has like 11 different waterfalls on it, and this is just one of many of the waterfalls. And again, you can see just how clear the water is. And you know, right now it's a bit overcast. We have some clouds going over us, so you can't really see how clear the water is. But anyway, besides sun and fishing, there's also camping that can be done with a boat like this. And then because it's a Sea Arc, which has a lifetime warranty and 1/8-inch thick aluminum hull, it can take some abuse, unlike, you know, something like a pontoon boat. But anyway, it's also a whole lot cheaper than a pontoon boat. The little motor on it is a 9.9 Suzuki, but I went ahead and had the electronics done on it, and which turns it into a 20 horsepower. And so the boat will literally, you know, get up on the water and go. I mean, not hugely fast, but fast enough to get anywhere you need to go on a lake this size. And it may take a little bit of time to get there, but it will at least plane the boat. And anyway, I just want to say that, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money on getting a boat. You don't, you know, you may not get one quite as nice as this, but you can get a John boat that you can slide in the back of your pickup truck with a trolling motor or even a little 9.9 motor on it for relatively cheap used. And so that is something that I would consider doing as a source of entertainment and fun. And I thoroughly enjoy it whenever I get a chance to come out and be out on the water by myself. And this is one of my favorite lakes to come to be out here and alone. But anyway, I bought this knowing also that if I did end up getting a divorce, that I would have a hobby or something that I could do with or without somebody. Now, having somebody on the boat is definitely a lot more fun, but you might find that fishing, camping, exploring All of those things can be done with a boat, as well as sharing it with other people. I've got other people that use this boat if you find people that you can trust. But the thing I like about it is once you buy the boat and it's paid for, the cost of running a boat like this with a 3.5 gallon can, and I keep a 2.5 gallon can on here for a backup, is extremely cheap. I can run that 3.5 gallon can almost all day long with that 9.9 converted into a 20 horsepower motor almost all day long. And when you're divorced and your ex has basically cleaned you out and taken everything she could take, and short of the shirt on your back, having things that you can afford to do is priceless. And me personally, I was smart enough to get this while I was making decent money, and my ex was paying some of the bills, and I could afford a little bit of extra stuff. And that's the thing I want to mention is get a few things that you can do that won't cost you a lot before the divorce while you can. Nothing too pricey, nothing too expensive. My ex tried to talk me into buying a $32,000 pontoon boat, and the payments were going to be like $500, $500 or $600 a month. It was just outrageous and stupid. And I knew that with something like this, if I got bored with it, I could tip it over upside down or throw a cover over it. The weeds could grow up around it and sit out there for 15 years before I have grandkids that would one day maybe ask me, "Hey, Dad, or Granddaddy, what's that boat doing out there? Can we go fishing?" Pull it out, pressure wash it, throw the motor on it, and go. And with a pontoon boat, I can't tell you how many times I've seen pontoon boats sitting out in people's front yards, fairly brand new, and 3 years after they get them, they do nothing with them, and the furniture on them rots. And it's just an absolute disaster. And meanwhile, they're still making payments on this boat that is rotting. I don't have to worry about this boat rotting. Yeah, it's not the most comfortable thing, but I can do things to it to modify it and to make it more suitable and comfortable. The other thing I like is that getting out here on the lake and in the water gives me an opportunity, especially if I'm camping that night, to see the sun, the moon, the stars, get involved in nature, and find a cove somewhere where I can drop anchor, read scriptures, and hear that still small voice. All of the hobbies that I've picked and chosen are nature investments, where I can be out in nature and be alone with my Father in heaven. So when I think of hobbies, I don't think of getting a video game and sitting behind a TV screen. Now, I will admit, on the hotter days, it is a temptation to sit in front of the TV watching YouTube videos and just kind of letting your mind rot and get away from things. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that periodically, especially when it's hot and miserable. Who wants to be, for all intents and purposes, out on a lake with a metal boat when it's 105 degrees outside with a heat index of 115? And it's just, it's not fun, especially when you're by yourself. Now, if you have somebody that you can jump in the water with, that's one thing. Like me taking my daughter, we would, take a dip in the lake and whatnot. So anyway, I just want to share this as a option to think about. Again, you can get used motors. You can and the smaller motors. Let me point this out, as far as cost goes. These smaller motors, especially Suzuki, which gives you a 6-year warranty when you first buy it, they just last. There's nothing much that can go wrong with them. They sip the gas. Yeah, I'd like to have a 30 on here, which is as much as this boat will handle. But I couldn't afford it. And I knew I couldn't afford it. And if I had waited to save up the money to afford it, then I wouldn't have had the money or the time that I got to spend with my daughter to go out on the lake. So I bought what I bought because I could afford it, and it was something I could do now before I ended up losing everything. But anyway, like I say, this is just another option. It doesn't have to be a boat. It can be a motorcycle, like I've said in one of my other videos, which is a lot of fun. And you can use it for going back and forth to work. I mean, I literally save $300 a month in fuel riding a motorcycle back and forth to work, which gives me the income I need to be able to take the boat out on the lake. I can afford it a little bit more. You know, and as far as the boat goes, not only just connecting with God a little bit more, but if you fish and you're good at it, then you got food you can bring home. So it also has other useful things that can be done with it. The motorcycle, that gets me out to locations and overlooks and on the twisties of the mountains to see, you know, the scenery in the mountains, and, you know, traveling short distances with it and everything. Really helps me connect with God. And kayaks, I enjoy kayaking on little lakes because they're extremely quiet and the animals don't run from you very, you know, quickly. They you know, you just blend in with nature. I mean, you can cruise right up on big fish, muskrat, beaver, deer, all kinds of things that might be taking or getting a drink from the river or lake or whatever, wherever you're at. The wild animals do not respond negatively to you when you're in a kayak, and it's just a very quiet, peaceful experience. And there's exercise involved, so it gets your heart pumping and gets you off the couch and gets you going. So, but if you're one of those types, you know, okay, well, I don't live in the country, I live in the city, I don't have the money for a boat, I don't have a car, I don't have a this and I don't have a that. If you try hard enough, you'll come up with excuses and reasons not to come up with a hobby. Okay, you live in the city and you can't get out. Okay, get a membership at a gym. Say, oh, well, you know, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm disabled. Well, okay, go to the hobby shop. See what you can find at a hobby shop. Get on Google if you have to and see what kind of, you know, hobbies are there. All I'm saying is do something. Sitting behind a TV, playing video games, watching TV does absolutely nothing for you unless, of course, it's educational or something like that. But you're getting an education with the intention of actually doing something with your life. Your life isn't over, brother and sister, after a divorce. All I can say is do something with your life. But more than anything, outside of having hobbies, get your relationship with God straight. And I will share secrets with you about how I'm able to keep my relationship with God alive enough to keep me interested in reading the scriptures daily with a purpose. All right, I'll see you guys later. I hope this video blesses you guys. All right, God bless you.